good God, what can we say? What do you got to say now? It's time to start the World Show. It is a little bit after 10 o'clock in the morning, Los Angeles time, and welcome to the World Show. Just a heyday of stuff going on, isn't there? Now, I want to tell you guys something. Let me back up. Let me make sure the lights are green, the trap is clean. It looks to me, it appears at this moment that everything is legible and you can hear me and stuff going on. We will have the drag and drop section of the program. I'm just checking everything around here. The boards are going up. All right, so listen. Yeah, the number of emails and questions and direct messages I've got a ton. So let me back up and I want to talk about something. This is for the world. This is a world show. We talk about world things, but there's so much going on in the United States right now. There's so much going on where I live that it almost seems like that's all you guys are asking. I have stuff I want to know from you guys. Yeah, I got questions, but we're going to have to pace ourselves on this. So I want to talk about something that's going on. A lot of you don't understand in the country. A lot of you don't understand out of the country. Most of the people around the world don't get a lot of the vibe going on in the United States. All you get is, the news, and they spin everything to whatever side of the fence they're on. And we try to look at things at street level here at Gen X Talks. It's Generation X. It's common sense. We look out the front door. I just tell you what's going on. You decide for yourselves. If we apply common sense to everything going on, some of these things sort themselves out, do they not? Yeah, good. Glad you're coming along with me with that idea. So I'm gonna bring it around to the political climate, but I don't want to go there first because I want to tackle this from a different angle. You guys can hear the same rhetoric all the time on all the podcasts and all the TV shows. I got it. I promise you my thoughts are going to be different because my brain's broken and I just say things differently because I think things differently. But let me talk about something socially. Now, this may be around the world. You guys are going to have to let me know because I'm not in Great Britain. I'm not in Europe. I'm not in Australia. The vibe of young people over there, you guys got to tell me, look out your own front doors with your cup of coffee and tell me what's going on. All right. So I want to talk about loyalty. And it's good and it's bad. There's mostly good, I'd say, but they can get confusing. And so the older generations, I won't drag this out too much, but follow along. Older generations, they develop loyalty as part of their being, as part of who they are, who they were. My grandparents were part of the greatest generation, and they got loyalty not only to America, but to brands, and they just stuck with it. Wasn't just buy American. My grandfather believed in like Dodge trucks, and he believed in Chevrolet cars. He voted Democrat. He bought Maytag appliances. I mean, there was just certain things that you became loyal to back in the day. And it seems like today that's part of the issue today is that people are like, well, I'm just sticking with what I know. Well, all right. I've learned from Dr. McDreamy over the past few years what we thought we knew about diet and medicine, what we thought we knew about foods and how our body processes it, not even close. The things you thought back then that you would just do because that was the right thing to do, and it was castor oil, or whether it was Band-Aids and Bactine, it didn't matter what it was. We've learned a ton of stuff since then, but there are people that are loyal to the traditional way of doing things that they did, and they're stuck with it. And all right, I got you. It seems to me that kids today, and I guess this is true with all teenagers at some point, but now it's grown. It's not just teenagers. Now it's people in their late 20s and early 30s. They don't look for loyalty. In fact, older generations, the first thought was, well, I'd like to stay loyal to this situation, but let me investigate it further. But I'm tending to stay with tradition and loyalty. And, it seems today the kids don't. It seems today the first inclination, whether you're talking about a product or a political movement, anything, their first inclination is, well, fuck it. I'm not with that. In fact, if that's what all you guys do, I'm against that. And then they might try to figure out what the story is. But right away, there's like, well, you talk to young people, it's like, well, what's the thing? Well, traditionally we've been supporting Israel and supporting the Jewish nation and supporting the Palestinians that are Hamas version, that are the violent and ready. We don't do that. Well, then I'm going with Hamas. I'm going with Palestine. Why? Well, because we're the underdogs. We're the underground people. We're the little guy. Well, that doesn't mean you're right. So do you see what I'm saying there? Just the basic premise is that older generations tend to, they err on the side of caution and remain loyal, and then they sort it out. Maybe they change their mind, maybe they don't. Younger kids right away start on the rebellion, whatever the minority issue, with your opinions in the minority, that you think you Stretch Armstrong is better than a Magic 8 Ball. Well, then I'm with Stretch Armstrong. Whatever the minority opinion is, they tend to go that way as a show. They get some fulfillment. Hey, yeah, I'm fighting. I'm struggling. I'm the little guy. I'm unshackling us, and there will be Stretch Armstrongs for everyone. It just seems to me there's a lot of that going on. Right? So let me keep that thought about young and old right there with loyalty versus angst, if you will. All right. So you guys are asking a lot about the political climate. And this goes into the loyalty factor. The years and years ago, my uncles, my parents, my grandparents, vote Democrat, vote Democrat, vote Democrat. Why? Democrats for the little people. That was the thing. I believe there was a time that was true. I believe 100% that you voted Democrat because they were for the little people. They were standing up for you. They took care of you. The unions were for the little people, not the rich, powerful assholes. The Democrats were for the little people, not the Republican assholes. I believe with all my heart, paying attention to history, that there was a time and a place when that was accurate, true, and needed. My Uncle Burdett, great Uncle Burdett, told a story, and he says, you got to be careful who you talk to about this, so don't repeat it. Of course, we were little at the time. He was mainly talking to my parents and whatnot. But he was in the union, and he said they have union meetings, and they get 300 of you in a hallway and say, here's the two candidates for governor. Who are you voting for? And the unions had their Democrat guy was the guy you're voting for, and you had to raise your hand. You had to raise your hand, and they'd pass around the cards and say, register to vote this way. Now, of course, they couldn't stop you on who you voted for when you pulled the lever, but they leaned into you pretty hard. They wanted to know if you weren't towing the party line. And my Uncle Burdett said that. He goes, this is very clear in these union meetings. You just do what they say. You raise your hand. You do, yes, sir, uh-huh. And you didn't get work. If they thought you were voting the wrong, you did not get work. And this was true, I guess, in all the unions. Two of the unions that my family was associated with very clearly. And there were two completely different unions in completely different fields. But they both said, yeah, that's how our meetings are. Yeah, that's what they say. That's how our meetings go. So even back in the day when I believed there was a time for it to be the right thing, it was you do this way. All right. So my grandfather was another one. It was my Uncle Burdett's brother. And he said, I remember he didn't talk politics hardly at all. Hardly ever. One of the greatest men I ever knew in my whole life was my grandfather. Never would talk politics, didn't care to. But I remember one time he sat me down in my early 20s and he said, we're talking about something. And I said, well, why do you vote Republican now? Why aren't you a Democrat? Because the stigmatism of for the little guy was still present, very strong. Very, very strong in the United States. And he said, well, if you really see what the Democrats are doing versus what they used to do for us, he goes, I don't think I left the Democratic Party. He goes, I think the Democratic Party left me. He goes, they changed completely. Their slogans and their titles and the things that they preach are all the same as they've always been. He goes, but their actions are completely different every time. Every president, governor, city councilman, mayor, he goes, it doesn't matter. They say all the same things, so I kept voting for them. But then slowly over time, they began to do the exact opposite. Under the heading of, no, this is good for the people. It's good for old people. It's good for children. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's good for America. And then they proceeded to do something that didn't fit any of those. That was really all he ever told me. And that was it. One conversation, one time. Now, since then, I've asked around to older people. Greatest generation, silent generation. I've said, well, what do you I didn't prompt them with answers or directions. I just asked, left it open, and a lot of them said the same thing. And let me bring that around a little bit. What's hard to get around is that at that generation, older generations, is they're loyal to their party. They're like, well, God, that didn't work out so well, but I'm still loyal to the party. Well, I did buy a Maytag appliance, which didn't last as long. I guess this one's built in, China someplace. But I'm loyal to Maytag. I'm going to buy Maytag. I'm loyal to the diet. I've been told the diet. We had the food groups and the pyramid. I'm going to stick with that and stay on that and that course. And there's lots of things like that, aren't there? That people just stay loyal to. And even if you come to them and go, listen, Chevrolet cars, okay, they're American made, they're good cars, I guess, but they don't last as well as a Honda car or a Toyota Camry. They just don't. You're like, well, it's Chevrolet may have a few, but this is Chevrolet. We buy Chevrolet. We're loyal to Chevrolet. You guys know people that are still like that. And I don't care. I don't care. Buy whatever car you want. Buy whatever appliance you want. I don't really care. If you be loyal in that respect, who does it affect? Nobody, you. But we can all clearly point out things with your diet, with the products you buy, with the things you endorse. Your loyalty is like, well, I understand you're loyal to it, but you might be a little misplaced. There's other things. New shit has come to light, as the dude says in The Big Lebowski. New shit has come to light. And if you take that, you're like, okay, some of these I can see, but some of these you gotta, just not the way it was, my man. Just not the same. Okay. So what happens if people are loyal to Democrats? You could point out things have changed. No. I hear their explanations. I believe their stories. And they stay. So it brings me to sunny point number one right now. What's going on is that there are huge amounts of people loyal to the Democratic Party and just were having a lot of problems with Biden. Biden was told to leave, and he did. And then Harris is in, and all those same people that were loyal to the Democratic Party, but not necessarily to Biden just because of his age and his condition. They may still like him, but like, this isn't working. Now they've got Harris. We got Kamala Harris. Now, for those of you around the world that don't know this, she ran for president against Joe Biden in the primaries. Yeah, true story. And I think there was like 12 people that started running for that spot. I think the first 6 or 7 were out like in a couple. They weren't even serious contenders. Just got the name on the ticket. So of the 5 or 6 that remained, the 5 that were like serious contenders stayed in the game. And she was one of the first ones out, if not the first one out. Why? Nobody voted for her. Nobody gave her any money. Nobody come and said, hey, we're going to give you a super PAC behind you, get money and get your endorsements. Let's get you on the... Nobody. 0. So she dropped out quick. Now, she joined the Biden ticket, obviously political reasons. Everybody's aware that she's a woman, she's black, or I don't know, Puerto Rican, black, whatever, she's a minority. So she brings along, you try to drag along, you get someone in your vice president position that can help you win by bringing in votes. You don't care what they can do as a person. They're not doing anything anyway. So she's in there. Now you have this loyalty towards the party, but they're just not sure. There's a lot of people, the younger generation is like, yeah, she's the underdog. She's the minority. Nobody likes her. Everybody's against her. I'm for her. This is the younger generation leaning into the underdog story, even if it's not right. And the older Democrats, the older generation going, I got a lot of loyalty to the party, but I'm struggling with this one. I just want to check blue and keep... it's a tough one. Just telling you what I'm seeing out the front door. I do a lot of listening. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because why on earth would the older guard who can clearly look at this and go, I'm not real supportive of Kamala. I'm struggling with that one. Why would they vote blue? Why would they vote Democrat? Well, let's go right back to what we were talking about. Loyalty. Loyalty feels good. party loyalty feels good. It's like, well, you can't vote for her. She's horrible, and she had sex to get where she's at. She was a terrible senator. She's done nothing as vice president. She cackles all the time. And there are people that go, well, I'm just voting for her anyway because I'm loyal to the party and I'm doing what the party wants, and the party picked her, so I'm voting for her. And there's a way to feel noble about that, isn't there? Isn't there the way that some people, can you see that? Can you see how some people would go, well, I'm just going to vote for her and hope they do the right thing. I'm just going to vote for Democrat and vote blue and hope they get it. I'm loyal to the party. That's where some people are at. Democrats don't care. They're like, yeah, fine. As long as you vote for us, we don't give a shit about what you're really feeling. If that's what causes you to pull the lever for blue, we don't care. But you should. You should. So you have this mix of younger generation that feel that everyone's against her and she's the underdog and the upstart, and they're going to go for her because that's just what young people tend to do. Fuck the old generation. If you guys are against her, well, then I'm going for it. Why? I don't know why. I'm just because I don't like you and I don't necessarily like her, but she's the underdog and I'm doing it. Then you got the older generation that's closing their eyes going, I'm just going to vote. I'm going to vote for Democrat and vote blue. I don't care. I'm loyal to the party. I've only got a couple more elections in me anyway. It's tough. It's absolutely tough. It's very tough. So you guys are setting, now you got the stage, and then we talked about loyalty with the older generation. We talked about the angst of the younger generation. Now we're talking about how Kamala Harris is where she's at, and we could talk about how she cackles. She had one job as vice president, which everybody knows. As soon as vice presidents in the United States became vice presidents, every one of the first 9 of them wrote in their memoirs, this sucks. There's nothing I can do. I have no power. I can't get anything done. The only power a vice president in our country really has while they're vice president is to, if they're so close to the president, they can say, hey, I want to get some stuff done over here. If the president says, yeah, I'll make that happen. But that's very rare the case in any Republican, Democrat. It just doesn't happen. So the vice president, all the vice presidents have said it's kind of a bullshit job. She had one job, go fix the border. That was it. She was known as the border czar. Well, as you people around the world can imagine, and from whether you're watching Fox News or CNN, the border's completely fucked up. She had one thing to attend to. She had one job, and she cackled her way around the country and did nothing. Her one job is worse than it was when she started. And of course, everyone's supposed to overlook that and just, she'll do more when she's president. Let's just forget that and move on. That was her one thing that she was tasked to do. And that was really just given to her by Biden and Obama and the Clintons going, just go over here and take care of the border. Let the grown-ups talk. And she left, but she didn't do anything with the border. Okay. So there you got this candidate that young people are going to vote for because she's a woman and she's a minority and she's the upstart and all the old people hate her and we're with her. You got even some loyal Democrats going, I'm just going to vote for her because I vote blue. I just go right down the blue, and that's it, and you hope for the best. All right. You guys have asked me, I want to bring up something here that's kind of probably sure you haven't heard this anywhere else. Okay? You guys always ask me for the past 2 years, is there going to be a civil war in America? Because there's, a legitimate civil war, guns and ammo and people rising up, lines drawn on maps, buildings taken over and burned. No, I kept telling you, I don't think so. I'm just telling you, looking out my front door, I don't think a legitimate civil war. I don't think it could. No, it really wouldn't get off the ground. There's not that much tension. And then lately I got to a point where I did say, all right, hold on. The mood of the country is, the whole country is Biden's down here, even Democrats. Got to get him out of office, too old, incompetent, got some degenerative cognitive thing going on, can't do the job. And Trump's numbers were up here, Biden's were down here. Okay. That was clear to everybody. Why do you think they pushed so hard to get Biden out? Because he was down here. There's just no possible way that they couldn't even steal the election. That you couldn't do it. Would there be a civil war if you woke up the next morning on after voting on Tuesday, you woke up Wednesday and the news went, well, golly, in the middle of the night, we counted the votes and Biden won. Weird, isn't it? Well, let's move on. Yeah, Biden here when you go to vote in the evening and the morning, and Trump was here that evening, and then all of a sudden it's flipped and Biden went. Yeah, civil war. I could see people taking a rash course of action. Yes, that was the one scenario I thought that would be extremely dangerous, probably an unstoppable moment, and they squelched it. Biden's out. And as I'm piecing all this together, like the rest of you, and we're thinking about all these things, I was actually talking to my mom, and she said, well, that paves the way to steal an election if someone were to be able to do that, if someone could do that, if it could happen. And I said, how does that pave the way? She said, well, Biden's numbers were here. Trump's numbers were there. There's no way you could steal that election without setting off a powder keg. And I said, well, that's what I was talking about. I agree. And my mother said, okay, Harris is in. I said, yeah, but her numbers are terrible too. She goes, watch. This is the day of Biden backing out. This is what my mother said. She says, we all know that in the beginning, Harris had no love for Harris, no votes, no money. No one was going to push her as president. There was other candidates way before her. She was not even on anybody's radar. She was not popular. People didn't like her when she was vice president. She wasn't popular. People didn't like her. It was no big deal to have her go anywhere and do anything. It's not that she was unpopular, like hated, just nobody cared. It was a nothing position of vice president. She was a mediocre candidate. She did a terrible job. Nobody cared. And nobody was really polling her at the time. Like, whoa, how would she do if she was... Nobody cared. My mother said, watch starting tomorrow. Every poll you see is going to be, wow, this is the weirdest thing ever. It's Kamala Harris is polling even with Trump. The numbers are within the margin error of Trump. She could do this with Trump. Every poll started coming around. That's what my mother said would happen. And I go, why? What? That can't happen. There's no way that anybody who says that's a fake poll. There's no way that's real. Well, we all know that. In the United States, everybody knows that. Just like they kept saying, Biden's fine. He's healthy. Everybody knew he had a problem. Everybody knew. They just lied to us. We knew that. Everybody knows her poll numbers were going to be terribly low, as bad as Biden's or worse. No, she's not popular. Nobody likes her. Nobody cares. But my mother said, but all they have to do is come out and tell you she's polling close to Trump. I said, why would they do that? What's the point of saying that for the next 3 months? And she said, because then when you wake up the next morning and Harris has won the ticket, Harris has won the presidency, the Democrats won, they can say, well, it's not strange to us. Look at how she was polling. We told you in every part of the country with every demographic, Harris was polling right up. We told you that. This is not a surprise to us that you wake up the next morning, all the votes got counted, and Trump is out, and Kamala Harris is president. It doesn't surprise us at all. But the only way you can say that is if the polling reports and numbers are even from now until Election Day. Because the country over here is divided, all the Democrats would go, well, they said the units showed the poll. I was watching the polling for months. It makes sense to me. I guess she won. The polling said that she was polling pretty even with Trump. Makes sense. If enough people were there, then I guess it could happen. Stranger things have occurred. It gives legitimacy to swaying an election in her favor. Does it not? It's odd that my mother said that the very first day, and all I've seen now is how great she's doing in all of the polling everywhere, every poll, every time. And she's not. I'm telling you the mood of the country. Nobody cares. Trump gets 10 to 80,000 people at a rally. She gets 2,000 or 3,000. There's no grassroots movement. There is no groundswell of support. You got a few people at the top. Just like when you look up, they said, well, in 24 hours, she got $81 million when she became the nominee. All right. And when Trump was convicted, he got a groundswell of, what was it, 40 or 50 or 60 million. And then just look at those two numbers. You're like, well, see, she did it too. Trump's support came out and her support came out. Trump has a grassroots base. Kamala has a grassroots base. No, she doesn't. Go look up where her $81 million came from in the first 24 hour. They were like 6 different donors and then some small, but like 5 or 6 people donated all of that, and then a few little trickled in. Look at Trump's. 90% of Trump was regular people giving $100, $50, $20, $300, $1,000, $80. That's how he got to his big numbers. Do you see the difference? Some guy comes in and writes a check for $81 million, and then everybody pretends that Kamala Harris has this groundswell of support. No, you had one guy with the checkbook. Trump comes in with millions of people donating small amounts, whatever they can. That's a movement. How could she be polling the same? She's not. Not even close. Now, I'm just setting the stage. You guys asked about Civil War. You guys asked about it. I don't know. Telling you, I just giving you the picture of the angst of the youth, the loyalty of the old Democratic Guard, the voters, the constituents, and how the brand loyalty goes with people, how being part of an upstart and automatically painting yourself as an underdog supporter, there's some nobility in that, isn't there? And then you guys tie that into where we're at and what's going on, and the polling isn't even showing it. Not the real polling. You go to the real polls, the neutral polls, the ones that get it right. See, polling in our country, you stand out. Here's all of our polling, the elections come in, and you turn around and go, our polling was right. Our polling was the most accurate. Year after year after year after year, we show that our polling is accurate. You guys were way off. All right. Don't look at the polling that's off every year. Go to the polling places. There's 2 or 3 of them that are almost dead on because they're fair. But nobody reports those polling. I'll put them up on the website for you. Nobody reports those polling because that's not what they want to show everybody. All right, Gen X Mom, let's go to the sheets.
All right. Facebook's very... Oh, sorry. My microphone.
Your microphone
Facebook
is
very active today.
Uh-oh.
Justin Salisbury just wrote, Harris is very popular with women, youth, minority, and moderate voters. She is polling, probably, very close. You're delusional, General, and don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Justin.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Where's he from?
He is on Facebook.
I didn't say where he's from.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
delusional. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm only paying attention to everything. I'm not listening to the drive-by media like you. But hey, I'm sure you know better than the rest of us. Go ahead.
Scott Roller on Facebook. She's going to win. No fraud will be found because there is none.
You're right. She is a model citizen. She didn't sleep her way to the top. She hasn't helped destroy San Francisco and California. And she fixed the border. All of those things... They're lies.
Isn't it all documented by video too?
No. Oh. She did not sleep her way to the top.
Oh, okay.
She did not ruin San Francisco. She didn't help Gavin Newsom ruin California, even though I live here. What would I know?
And you know what?
And the border's fixed. Didn't you know she was the borders are for I'm sure you're right. In fact, when we're done, I'm gonna unplug all this, delete our account, and punch myself in the face because clearly I have no fucking clue to what's going on. Dumbass. Yeah.
You know what? Even if she did sleep, that's her personal business. If that's the way she wants to live with herself, she has to live with that guilt. But her actions, her videos of what she did with policies, that is government. That's what we're voting on.
Right. Okay. So just take page 36 out of the Democrat playbook. You go back and say she's helped ruin San Francisco, California, didn't fix the border. She had 0 policies all the way through the Biden administration, just kind of plugged herself in. But anything that she does wrong, page 36 from the Democratic playbook, well, She could have done better. She was on the right track. But those damn Republicans got in the way. Those damn Republicans, they would just, if they let her finish her job and got out of the way, she really made some progress. Damn Republicans. That's just part of their playbook. When they have a policy that fucks up, they always say the same thing. The Republicans got in the way, or they slowed it down, or they didn't give us quite what we wanted, and it's not our fault. We were doing the right thing. So I'm sure all those stories will be just, look, it's page 36 out of the playbook. Happens every time.
Jan Mott's on YouTube. General, but couldn't the polling numbers be fixed by the liberals, though?
Yeah.
Remember, Jan's in England.
Yeah, they're adjusted by, there's liberal polling places. And you see, I didn't want to get too deep into how polling works, but they don't lie and change the numbers. They don't just say, is Kamala Harris going to be a good president? Yes or no? And everybody in the polling says no, and they just report it as everybody saying yes. That's not how they do it. There's been a lot of articles written from people that do the polling, that write the polling, and they say, here they call up a pollster and say, well, would you, a pollster calls up a person, would you like to participate in a poll? We have a question for you. Do you think Kamala Harris would be a great president, a good president, or a somewhat solid president? Well, of those three, I guess somewhat solid. Oh, good. So you vote for, see, we got a good poll here. Every answer came back good. Well, it's because of how you worded the poll. That's what they do. Ask to see the exact wording of the poll you performed with your results, and they tell you it's confidential. We can't tell you that unless insiders and whistleblowers expose it, which they have over the years. We clearly know how they ask the question. So the poll is a very honest. These are truthful answers. Yeah, but your question was all fucked up. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
Raymond Lopez on YouTube. It's not divided. It's people are ignorant and don't understand what's going on.
Well, there's a lot of division in our country. In my country, there's a lot of division. There's a ton of that stuff going on, and there is a lot of ignorance, and there's a lot of ignorance because people don't want to know. Those younger generation from 21 to 31, they don't want to know the truth. They like the blind support of the underdog, and you just don't like women. You don't like minorities, and I'm going to. Yeah, but it's a fucked up candidate. Go get a different woman minority candidate that's solid. No, I'm not listening. Shut up. And that's it. Like those two people that just rattled their mouth off on Facebook. Do you actually think they're going to leave here and go do any homework at all? No. They go right back to their job and just, put their hat in their back pocket and go, yep, I got my stuff. I said what I said in there and I'm down. Nothing's going to change. They're not interested in really trying to find out if what they believe in is right. They don't care. They take a stand. They find some nobility and their loyalty to that, and they just blindly go with it. And don't worry, if everything gets fucked up, we can go to one of the Democrat playbooks and find out how it's not really your candidate's fault. It's not really your fault for voting for him. There'll be a way to blame somebody else. Don't worry. You're fine. But as you guys have seen in just like the last 3 years, everything has gotten more expensive. Everything has gotten more fucked up. I had a relative. I wasn't going to bring this up. I had a relative get a hold of me and say, why does Trump go around talking about how great his oil and natural gas production was during his administration? The Biden numbers are almost just as good. Biden's just as good. Biden's almost just as good. Okay, look at the numbers. Trump's numbers are here. Biden's numbers are right below. Oh, my God. Why does Trump keep saying that? Until you realize... do a little homework. Barely dig, which I did. I just started looking at the numbers look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Trump's wrong. And you find out that Biden closed or refused or rejected almost all the leases on government land, which Trump's numbers would have been up here and Biden's would have been down here for all of the oil and natural gas production during his tenure. But private land was drilling more. State land was drilling more. So you literally have the Biden administration trying to squelch it, trying to kill it, and somehow the American spirit came through. States were drilling on state land. private land was being drilled. And the numbers came up no matter what Biden did. And Biden looked and says, oh, fuck, that didn't work. You guys are producing almost as much without me. So under my administration, the oil and gas production is right there at the top. Fuck you guys. I'm doing as much as Trump. And all the Democrats, including the relative that texted me, said, yeah, see? You see what's going on there? That is an absolute true story. And if any of you would dig even a little bit, you'd find a lot of stories just like that, but no one will. Those people just walk around, Biden's doing as much as Trump. Oil and gas, almost neck and neck. So let's not talk about how Trump's the oil and gas guy. Can we please get past that? And all the liberals, I now have my talking points. I will go out and say the same thing. I will repeat the same thing. That's kind of true, I guess, but it's not because of Biden. It's in spite of Biden. Little homework exposes the whole thing. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
Deepak, who's from Ireland, has a question. Could Democrats vote for Kennedy? He is a lifelong Democrat until he was forced to become independent without having to feel they betrayed the Democratic Party.
They could, and a lot of them will. There's a lot of, and I don't agree with everything Kennedy is for, but there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I agree with him that my Republican friends would go, dude, where's your loyalty? I don't know. To people? To the fucking country? I don't think he's quite got it all together, but he's a way better candidate than Biden or Harris. And they've literally, without going into details, Deepak, they have shut him out every way possible, kept him off of ballots as a Democrat, kept him out of conventions, kept him away from some of the debates. They shut him out completely. They're not even going to give him a chance to be heard. And they did that to him. They're not the conservative side. I think he should have been heard. There's a lot of things that conservatives could learn from what he's talking about. Anyway, there you go.
All right. Dominica White on Facebook says, I've been a Democrat all my adult life, and I cannot get behind Harris. Trump isn't the answer either. I've been so grossed out over an election before. Never been.
And who said that?
This is Dominica. Hold on.
Yeah.
We are intentionally so divided by both parties, and solid, honest information is so hard to come by these days. Even once respectable sources have now been influenced by polarizing powers. I'm going to vote for the general.
Other than that last statement, Dominica, if you guys wanted to write something down, if you wanted to copy and paste something, that for around the world, her sentiment is what a ton of people on both sides are thinking, but nobody has the balls to say it. Nobody has the balls to say it. There are flaws with Trump and there are flaws with Harris. You have to pick the lesser of two, which you want. What she's saying is true. There's no more candidates that just get out there and speak the truth. You can't. Every candidate every time is going to lie, win the votes, then do what they want. Okay? Let's just get to that. Let's get that across to the whole world right now. In the United States, you will lie, spin, twist, bend, win, and then do what you want. So if that's the case, let's just figure out what they're going to do. Look at their track record. Because guess what? They have a track record. Trump has been in office. You can't say, he'll bring us to war and he'll have the nuclear football. We're all going to die. He already had the nuclear football. We didn't die, so shut the fuck up. That isn't going to happen. He'll change and drive us into the ground and we'll all be dead. No, he didn't do that either. So you can't say that. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
Steve Courtwright on Facebook. There's never been an election stolen in America.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by stolen.
That's Steven.
Yeah, Steven, there's so many ways you could argue that. And I know you're talking about the Dominion voting machines, and I land on the side. I've seen all the episodes. I've seen all the stories. I land on the side. Okay, let me with one caveat. I land on the side that no, I don't think it was stolen just through the voting machines. I don't think so. And no one came up with, I found a guy who had, in the trunk of his car, 3,000 ballots. He wasn't supposed to have those. He took those Republican conservative 3,000. All right, 3,000 ballots. I got you. That doesn't change it. You show me a guy who's got 300,000 in the trunk of his Buick. Now we got a problem. I didn't see that. They had Dominion voting machines. They tore them apart. I didn't see it. I know all the coincidence by who is married to who that runs Dominion, by the relationship to the Obamas and the Clintons. I got it. I get it. It's shady shit. Here's what I don't like. And this, I'm going to simplify this. Remember, I'm just a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert. I don't know how to go that technical on every subject. And I don't have a team of people doing research. You know how many there? Me. I do the homework. So how far can I actually go? Not very far. Follow me on this. In Nevada, the Nevada Gaming Commission regulates the payouts of machines. Machines have to pay out. There's rules that say and I don't know what the exact rule is, but your machine must pay out 10% of the time, or whatever, 12% of the time, or 20%, whatever it is. And back in the day, machines were mechanical. Or you programmed the machine and you closed it and you left it alone. The next time you want to get in to change the program, you have to open it up and change it. Follow me on this. This is important for my story. Yeah. And it used to be when I lived in Las Vegas that the Nevada Gaming Commission would come in and they would rope off 20 machines, and they just put money into them and count how many times it paid off. Out of every 500 times you put $1 in, it had to pay so many times. That was the rule. On average, they do all these machines, and on average, if they didn't, then the casinos got dinged pretty fucking heavy. Plus, you don't want to show up in the Las Vegas Review-Journal as being the casino that kipes your dubage and bends the rules and they don't pay out as good. No, you don't want that. It's a pretty big thing there, and Nevada's pretty strict about it. And there's not a lot that casinos could do, because if they had some fucked up machines that were stealing from people, you didn't have time. When the Nevada Gaming Commission came in and roped off your area, you couldn't run in and change it, could you? No. They're mechanical, or they're programmed already. You couldn't just slide in there, open it up, change the programming to make it look legit, close it back up and say, there, test the machine now. They get caught. Now, the thing I worry about throughout the entire state of Nevada is that you guys see the new machines. They're all computer screens. They're all computer operated, and all of the programs are downloaded from upstairs. This can be a game about alligators and fish and all these different buttons and layouts and payoffs. And they say, now we're changing this to a baseball one. This is all baseball with home runs and teams. They program it from upstairs. They delete what it was, they program what it is, and away it goes. So I'm always worried that they can change the programming of machines to pay out a little less, pay out a little more. I have no idea what the rules are with the Nevada Gaming Commission on how that works. I'm sure they try to have something in place, but it would bother me that they have so much control. I can't just sit down in the machine and go, it's me versus the machine. No, they can change things while I'm gambling. I'm not saying they do. I'm not saying they do. I'm saying they could, and it's worrisome. You follow along? Pretty simple analogy, right? So guess how the Dominion machines worked? I have been told. I didn't see one. I haven't opened one up. I haven't seen a diagram on one. But universally, everybody that I talk to says, yeah, they're programmable just from Wi-Fi. You just connect to it and program the machine. You can count the ballots. You can do stuff. It's part of the ease of operation. But if there was a program and they're fucking things up, after it was done fucking things up, couldn't they just program it and put back in the regular code? The correct operation, the correct operating system? When you examined it, this is all correct. There's no shenanigans here. No, you could have deleted the shenanigan program 2 hours ago. I'm not saying that's how it works. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that in the age we live in with those type of machines, you couldn't tell me definitively that it happens one way or another, because I believe there's so much can be changed on the fly. I'm just saying that I wish we'd go back to counting real ballots and punch. I'd rather go back to the hanging Chad days. For any of you who are really old, remember the hanging Chad of Florida. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
Hillbilly's given two amounts of money with two different questions, okay?
All right.
And this is on YouTube. The first one Hillbilly asked for $5 is, General, what is your affiliation? I'm a conservative, just would like to know.
Yeah, I lean way more conservative. If I had 100 views on politics, 92 of them are going to lean conservative, and I probably have 7 that lean heavily towards the liberal side that I agree with liberals on. But I let's say 93 to 7 is my leaning on that, and that's where I'm at. Like me or don't. Yeah.
Okay, Hillbilly for $10 says,
right.
So what is your answer to election theft? I think you just said it, though,
Yeah,
Paper.
I do. Just, it's funny. They can count everything. Why does it take so long to count ballots? Anything we do in life, they can figure stuff out in moments, but they can't figure out counting ballots for 3 or 4 days, and they're all electronic.
So wasn't there a time, because I remember my mom doing this, they had little old ladies, I'm going to say old ladies, but they had ladies sitting at the voting booths, and they took care of the counting. They reported. I remember my mom being in our neighborhood and working at somebody's house.
Yep.
And all the ballots came in, and then they stayed after, and they counted whatever section they were out and reported. Why don't we go back to that?
I think 2 things would help. I think anybody who argues against this would be a good way to find out who's cheating. This would be a really good way to find out who's cheating. I think we should go back to manual ballots where you fill it in or you punch it out. And then there's, like she said, there's people there that collect them, and there's a box of them, and you write on 2 people, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. They both agree on the amount of that one. And then there's 20 other people, and this one polling station has all of their ballots and their numbers in boxes that are all sealed and labeled, and the total goes to the next station, and they add theirs, the next station. I think that would be a very accurate and powerful way to do it. Plus, you can always go back and recount. You can go back and recheck. Anybody who's afraid of that, you're racist, that's not efficient, they're the problem. Anybody, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, if you're against better accuracy, you're part of the cheating problem. That's one. And I know that mail-in ballots are a big thing, and I know that mail-in ballots is an abused system. I know somebody who, the last election cycle in Nevada, I know a guy in Nevada got 5 different voting packets to his house under his name. He goes, I could have turned all 5 in. All 5 of them came to me. You're supposed to get 1. I got 5. All of them with a very specific coding number. He goes, they're all 5 different coding numbers, all the same name. He goes, I could have turned all of them in. I could have had 5 votes for whatever I wanted. So the mail-in ballot problem is a problem. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
A couple people on YouTube have said that Montana's one that still does paper, and there was one more, and I'm sorry that I forgot that state.
It's ridiculous that you don't. Well, it's too complicated. It's too long and drawn out. It's not efficient. Just add to the end of that. And plus, I'm in favor of cheating. Just add that to the end of whatever you're saying. Yeah,
with all that paper ballot, Brian McKay on YouTube is saying expect a delay of the real results for days then if you want to go manual. But wasn't there a delay?
There's delays anyway. We get delays anyway. We get delays of 2 and 3 days. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Again, who cares about a delay? Would you rather have it delayed and accurate?
Exactly.
Or on time but inaccurate? There's your answer. Now, you pick which one. If you still pick the first one, then I think you know how I feel about you on that topic. Yeah, Jen.
We have a couple from the UK are signing in from YouTube. David Bradshaw says there's a scandal ongoing in the UK right now about missing money from the post office. Where has the missing money gone? That's what they're trying to figure out.
Yeah, they did that here. They spent $20 billion on a high-speed rail in California. We're going to have a high-speed rail line, and it was supposed to go from San Francisco to Los Angeles. $20 billion is gone. There's nothing, very little's been built. And now they're going to have, they say, well, we're going to finish part of it. It's between 2 little country bumpkin towns in Central California farming land that nobody gives a shit about. Nobody cares. You're like, well, we're going to have high-speed rail between these 2 cities. Like, who goes between those 2 cities? What for? Like 12 people that go to work between those 2? And where's the $20 billion? There's a complicated issue. There's a lot of ins and outs and wherefores and what have yous. All right. It's gone. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
Stuart Bailey from the UK is reporting in. That's one good thing about our elections in the UK. Not an electronic machine in sight. We still put our cross on a sheet of paper.
I wish we'd go back to that, and I think they should put that. It'd be a nice little tell. Put that on the floor of the Senate, and everybody who votes for it is for legitimate democracy. Everybody who's against it is going to be thinking, God, you're taking away our way to manipulate. No, we can't have that. It's so simple. There's such simple things, just like term limits. In our country, a lot of politics would be solved with term limits. Anybody for term limits is for the betterment of the country. Everybody against term limits is part of the problem. I don't care what story they tell you. They always got a story on why, and it sounds good. I've heard their stories. At the end of it, it's bullshit. Yeah, Gen X mom.
Kyriaki. I'm sorry if I ruin your name. In Canada, this is on Facebook. In Canada, we have the manual system of counting the elections. There were times where there were recounts. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm all for that. So I'm going to jump over to,
Let me go. Hold on. Hillbilly gave another $5 for a question. What about citizen ID and paper ballots?
Yeah.
So citizen ID.
I'm not going to get to the drag and drop section of the program today. I had some stuff to show you, but we're going to have to pass on it.
Yes, there's lots of comments.
Citizens voting is the simplest thing. You say, well, if you're a United States citizen, you get to vote. You're a member of the community, you're a member of the country, and you're voting, and that's it. And anybody who says illegal aliens, undocumented citizens should get to vote, the only reason you would want them to vote is they're voting for you and your cause. And here's how they do it, just so you know. It's like, well, I know they're really not citizens. You ready for Democrat Playbook, page 28? All right. I know they're not citizens, but let's face it, they're here. All right? Now, they're here, and they're living under our laws. Legal or not, citizen or not, they are living on these grounds under our laws. Should they not have a say in how they're governed? No, you should not have a say. You're not a citizen. You don't belong here. You can't do that. You cannot the whole country of Venezuela cannot just move in and go, we're here to change your laws. What? Again, it's an easy tell. Anytime someone says, well, there's no such thing as an illegal human. No shit. We didn't say there was, dumbass. We said they're a human committing an illegal activity, dipshit. Nobody said they're an illegal person. Well, they should get to vote. They live here too. No, they shouldn't. They're part of the problem. They're part of the problem. This doesn't take a lot of, there's many things to consider. No, there's not. You're going to spin this around to make it all fucked up and muddy the waters like you always do. It's real simple. The citizens of the country will vote on the laws of the country, and then we will let the rest of you know how things turned out. That's it. That's it. All right.
All right, we got this. This is a hot topic you started.
Well, I'm almost out of time. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Tyler says, why did we go to voting machines in the first place? What was the argument to move to a highly corruptible method?
Oh, that's simple. They just thought, well, we can monitor what goes on from afar. I can sit in Washington, D.C., and on my laptop, I can check every vote of every county, of every township in the country. We can have software that keeps track of this. Plus, it'll be much more efficient. It'll get people in and out. No more long lines of voting. We can run people through quickly. We can monitor what's going on, and the results will be instantaneous. Yeah, but it could also be manipulated. Well, nothing's perfect. No, nothing's perfect.
Here's just a couple comments for you to know. Jackson Armstrong on YouTube. I vote for who I think can do the job. This year, I am doing a Monty Brewster, none of the above. How do you feel about a voter that doesn't want to vote? You think that's bad? Or should they vote? Should they choose?
Well, I think if it's a conscious decision not to vote, I'm okay with that. If you consciously say, I've studied what's going on, and neither of you deserve my vote. That's one thing. It's the person who doesn't know, doesn't care, doesn't vote, and then bitches about how things turn out later. No, that's not the same thing as a conscious decision to not support somebody. That's completely fucked up. For the next 4 years, keep your fucking mouth shut, because you don't count anymore.
All right, Lawrence Brinley on Facebook. This is it's a hot topic right now.
All right, go ahead.
Are we dumping Netflix? Co-founder donates $7 million to Kamala Harris's campaign, but Netflix, the company, is not saying anything right now.
That's...
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, there's several things like that are that way. It's tough to be... If I like Netflix, I buy or rent or whatever. I participate in Netflix. I like Netflix. If the owner doesn't agree with my policies, I still like Netflix. I mean, I still like, there's movies I like, there's movies on there that I like. I don't like Disney, but I like Marvel movies. I don't like Disney, but I like Star Wars, but I can't see Star Wars without Disney. I mean, I guess you could. I guess you could vote, just like we did with Bud Light, just like Americans did with Target. They like Target. I think if it rises to a level where it crosses the line with a major part of the nation, Bud Light was, Bud Light's doing fine. They're coming back. They're going to they've lost billions, but they got the message and they're choosing their own course. They're still doing a little stuff over here, but a bulk of what they're doing is back to traditional America stuff. All right. I don't drink beer either way, but I get how we taught them a lesson by voting with our dollars. Target was the same way. We taught them a lesson by voting with our dollars. All right. Is Netflix at that point? I don't know. The guy donated money because he likes the guy. All right. Well, I don't. Yeah, but you're giving him money and he passes your money along to, yeah, but also Netflix employs a bunch of people. Maybe I'm helping employ a bunch of people. I mean, the waters get pretty muddy there. And if you try to find any one person to stay loyal to at the top, you're going to have a hard time enjoying anything in life. You're not going to buy a Ford or a Chevy. You're not going to have any Apple products. You're not going to enjoy Netflix, probably not Amazon either. I mean, if you're going to cut everything out of your life, you have to pick your battles. I don't know. I think I was aligning myself with some of the decisions with Target and with Bud Light. I think I'd have gone along with those. I don't drink beer, but I don't think I'd make a big issue about picking it apart at the Netflix level. Now, if Netflix changed all of their programming and they stripped away half their programming and changed it to half their programming I didn't like, I'd probably say something then. I'd probably vote with my dollars then. But just in that situation, which you got to take these things case by case, and each of us as individuals have to decide, just learning that probably wasn't enough to change me. Yeah.
Another comment from Noel on YouTube. The uninformed voter is a dangerous thing.
The uninformed voter is a dangerous thing. And right alongside is the sheep voter that just repeats something and then hope it holds up. That's almost even worse. But yes, I 100% agree with you, Noel. Yeah.
Daniel on Facebook, I was a Democrat as a young, uninformed man. But now that I think with my own head, I have been a Republican for the past 6 years. Halfway through Trump's term, I switched over.
There is a tremendous number of people that a lot of voters in there from, let's say, 21 to 31 have been slowly switching over, going, this doesn't feel right. And when they get, a lot of them feel that way. A lot of them know there's something not right with the liberal side of things. And the first thing they do is when you get into your late 20s, you're like, okay, this doesn't feel right. I'm going to go do research and homework. I'm going to find the solid foundation of what liberals are doing so I can continue on. There's a lot of areas that's tough to do. And a lot of those people, after they do their homework, go, well, fuck it, I'm just staying here, and I don't care anymore. I'm not doing any more research. Liberalism, Democrat, vote blue. But there's quite a few that go, all right, this doesn't pass the smell test. Something's not right. The foundation isn't what they said, and they begin doing the same homework on the Republican side, on the conservative side. Good, do that. Find the numbers about drilling and quit just repeating the shit that's out there. Find the answers. But here's the biggest problem when it comes to loyalty, when it comes to those things. How hard is it for everyone to admit they were wrong? How difficult? Why would someone stay when they know they're wrong? Because they don't want to admit they were wrong. They don't want to admit that they've been tricked. They don't want to admit they've been fooled. They don't want to admit that all their one-liners they throw out all the time about all these things. You can't, it's very difficult to come back because you're worried someone's going to say, I told you so. You were stupid for 10 years. That keeps a lot of people in their camp because they don't want to admit they were wrong, even when they figured out. They just quietly put all the books away, quit doing homework, quit doing research, and go about their business. It's a very difficult thing to win a person over without saying, I told you so. Yeah, Jen.
I have just 4 more comments.
Read them all through. Go.
4 more. Brian McKay on Facebook. these two are very similar. He says, Trump is an old rich prick who has his own interests in mind, who couldn't help but screw up and would again. And Al Taylor on Facebook said, Trump should drop out. He's an old fuck. He's old as fuck, too.
Gave all of his salary to charity every year he was in the office. Only president to come out of office poorer than when he went in. All of your liberal senators and congressmen and presidents, they got rich while they were in office on a government salary. He gave away and lost money. But I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there's something I'm missing.
But they're bringing the age thing back. You know, when people attacked Biden about being old and were questioning him, you know.
Well, that was a given. As soon as, age was not a factor when we were talking about the Democrat guy. That's a Democratic playbook, page 16. You know, it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander till we're the gander. You know, don't talk about age. Trump's okay. Biden's okay. Trump's okay. Biden's okay. Oh, Biden's out. Fuck it. How old is that guy Trump? Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. They couldn't say anything about Trump's age when Biden was running because Biden was the same age. They couldn't. They never heard a word about it. Now, all of a sudden, it's an issue. Yeah, liberal hypocrisy. I'm sure you guys got a story on how that's not. No, that's not true at all. Yeah, I got the liberal playbook. You know, I was thinking about making a liberal playbook. I was thinking about making one and writing it down and just publishing it and go, here's the playbook. Here's how it goes. That way we can all refer to the pages as we go along. Yeah.
Eric Cartmel on Facebook. Most of the kids love their cars and trucks. Just let them all know the Democrats are trying to take away their cars, trucks, and guns, and they will not like that.
Yeah, but they don't believe that. They don't really think they were trying to do it. You know, that's one thing I think is going to swing Pennsylvania. And I really think that this one, Pennsylvania, may go red the whole way through. Write that down. Is because of Biden's, once he got into office saying, oh, I'm not going to destroy the coal industry. No. And then once he got in there, he shut everything down and screwed everything up. I kind of got a feeling that's going to stick with people, but we'll see.
All right. The shoeless one says, this is an interesting comment. The same people that are telling you to vote for Kamala because she is a woman can't define what a woman is.
True. Yeah.
So one last comment is... Hillbilly again for $5. What happens to a house without a solid cornerstone? Question.
Crumbles. First storm. Crumbles. I'm really amazed right now that China hasn't made a move on Taiwan. I called someone I know who's higher up back east and said, how come this hasn't happened yet? And I got met with dead silence. Person who always answers my calls and my texts and has answered them since then, deliberately skipped over that. I just can't believe that they're not taking advantage of this turmoil and going, fuck it. No one's in charge. Let's just do some shit. That's what I'm glad. I'm happy, but I'm surprised.
Did you hear that NORAD intercepted Chinese and Russian airplanes up near Alaska? They came into space or right around there?
Yeah, they sent a couple F-35s and Raptors up there.
They're tipping their big toe over the line just to see what's going on.
Well, you can fuck around up there in Alaska all you want. You're not. We got air stations up there that'll fucking take you out. But in Taiwan, where you think you have a legitimate hold, I'm a little worried about you guys. But all right, I think we should call it quits. We did a little bit more than our hour. For those of you who watched the Bottom of the Glass show last night, I had to end it at 25 minutes. Did not feel well, ran out of air, was having trouble breathing. Not a heart attack, complications of other stuff, but it harkens back to 3 years ago with my throat closing up and it's hard to breathe. And I just couldn't get a hold of myself. And as you guys know, I never quit a show. I try very hard to be here. I knew my neck is hurting up here all morning. I'm having trouble breathing all morning, but I'm here. And I did my hour. Wasn't going to miss it with you guys. And I will try to be on the Garage Show tonight at 6 o'clock. We'll broadcast everywhere. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys taking time to show up today. I mean, if you had an hour of your day to waste, what better place to waste it than right here with Gen X Talks, where everything's made up and the points don't matter. Just a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert, just a jabroni like the rest of you. Not sure where you're tuning in from around the planet, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you're listening in on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember two things, wherever you go, well, there you are. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks again, everybody. See you next time.